Hello, I'm Russ Curran, President and co-founder of Something Software. Something Software is creating a movement where entire communities across the country can prosper. You're about to hear from Tim Livingston, who is an executive associate and member of our advisory board at Something Software. Tim articulates the vision of Something Software perfectly as we look to change the world by supporting both local and national charities. Listen to what Tim has to say closely, as our platform can completely transform entire communities across the U.S. with no capital outlay at all. Enjoy. And with that, before I get to the next item on the agenda, I wanted to bring on a special guest tonight, Mr. Tim Livingston. He is our newest member of our Executive Associate Advisory Board panel, which we take incredibly seriously because of the contribution of all of the people on the board. Tim happens to have a company himself that he runs and manages and is immersed in umpteen hours every day, but he has found a way to synergistically and harmoniously incorporate Something Software in with his company. So with that, Tim, are you there?
I am here. Good evening, Russ.
Awesome. Good evening. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you coming on. I'd like, just in your own words, give people kind of what your business is and what you're doing and how SSI fits in with that, if you would.
Absolutely. Good evening. Excuse me. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me on. Well, Russ asked me if I would speak to you tonight on just a couple of topics and items, and the primary one that I wanted to address was how we are incorporating SSI into our business. So I have a company called ACES, which the acronym actually stands for Athletes, College Education, and Scholarships. And really, at its core, it is a community youth development initiative where we work with sports organizations throughout the United States, rec leagues, club teams, high school teams, travel teams, you name it, any type of sports organization. And our focus is all about education and getting kids to college. We focus on four primary components, which are nutrition, performance, college recruiting, both for athletics and admissions, and college planning. And part of what we do in our college planning is that every single kid in our organization, whether you come from the urban core of Detroit or you live in suburbia, every kid in our organization receives a minimum of a $1,000 private college scholarship to 330 universities throughout the United States. That can be for playing on a 5-year-old T-ball team. And every year you play, or every organization that you participate with, or every event that you go to that is sanctioned by us, you receive an additional $1,000 college scholarship. The reason I'm telling you all this is because of the relevance. We feel that everything is focused on one of two things, education or economics. And we have found a way to incorporate SSI into the economics. So whether we're dealing with an urban core football organization or a high-end suburbia soccer club, we're able to walk in the door and incorporate college scholarships and ways for that to transform that organization. And what we're starting to find out is that we're not only transforming an organization, we're transforming the lives associated with that organization, and now it is bleeding out into transforming entire communities. So some of these school districts that Russ has brought up before, our big meeting coming up the first week of August in Detroit with the public school district, which is 800,000 kids, 20,000 kids in Wyandotte County, Kansas City, plus 140,000 kids in the 3 districts, and we haven't even gotten into Chicago yet. We're working on that now for the Chicago Public Schools. Those different school districts outside of Chicago, so Naperville, Aurora, Districts 204, 308, etc. But what we're finding is that when we walk into an organization, for example, we're able to walk into Kansas City United has 500 football players and cheerleaders. They are the 103rd lowest health nutrition county in Kansas. They're in a food drought district, meaning that there's no fresh produce within 5 miles of where they live. The economy is horrific. Many people are unemployed. And their budget for the year is $54,000. So it's about $100 a kid, give or take, to play football there. But we have shown them through SSI how, without anyone having any money, and you have to remember, in the urban core, there's no corporate sponsorship. There's no good local businesses that can help to support that organization. So when they do fundraising, they're going door to door with candy bars to people's homes that don't have very much money. But we have shown them, and our intent with them, and what they want to pilot in Kansas City is the ability to use SSI so that they can raise money in 1 year, in 1 month, 500 kids finding 10 people, 500 families finding 10 people each to play for 1 month for 10 minutes a day and not have to give any money will generate $37,500 for that football organization. Our goal is for them to do that, obviously more than 1 month, but even if it was only 2 months of the year, that would be about $75,000 for an organization whose budget is $54,000. So our intent is that by next season, everyone will play football for free, and everyone will receive a minimum of a $1,000 private college scholarship. So we will give out over $500,000 in scholarships, and no one will pay for anything because of SSI. That conversation, those discussions with the captain of the police department, the fire chief, with county officials, has started a movement that can transform an entire community. With that, we have now been invited to meet with, and we already have spoken with, the school board members. That discussion and that conversation has now parlayed into the potentiality of dealing with the teachers union for the state of Kansas. And this is starting to happen all over the place. I've been invited to a small town in Texas with only about 26,000 people in their population to come and sit down with the city council members, the mayor, and some of the key business leaders, including sports bar person and a pizza person and whatever else in that community, because they see SSI as a way, both through ACES Education and SSI, as a way to completely transform their entire community. So the reason I wanted to talk about this tonight was because I see this as a much larger endeavor than just putting it in the sports bar. And there's nothing wrong with putting it in a sports bar, of course. But I wanted to point out that this has the ability to change lives. This has the ability to change communities. This has the ability to ultimately bring corporate America into areas that they would never come, and where businesses locally can't do anything, or to teams where corporate sponsorships would never happen. And ultimately, we're bringing corporate America to them through SSI, because the money we generate through the company that is being shared by Derek and Russ and everybody else, all is corporate money. So we're spreading the wealth throughout these types of areas, but the changes we can make there will make dramatic differences in other places. So ultimately, that's what I wanted to share. And with that, one of our organizations is the United Youth Football League. And that's where some of these conversations like KC United come to fruition. But the United Youth Football League is 130,000 football players in America. And our goal is to launch this into every single one of them, and this be their primary revenue generating component throughout the country. If 130,000 families can get 10 people to play, well, last time I checked, that's a lot of people. That's 1.3 million people playing just from a youth football organization. So that's just one endeavor. The Arena Football League obviously is another, and some of the other ones that are on there come through some of the people that are working with us. So the one other thing that Russ asked me if I would just speak on briefly was just a concept that he and I threw out the other day and started badgering back and forth. We're doing some investigative work on with some key people in the industry. But the conversation was basically focused on another approach similar to sports bars, where we're about to launch this unbelievable Lucky's BMW giveaway. Something that every time you talk to anybody and tell them, they can't even believe it's true. And I'm sure all of you have experienced the same thing I have. But we said, what if we could take this concept, our own internal Lucky's BMW giveaway concept, what if we took it to every car dealership that was out there? What if we took our plan, our qualification process, and took it to every car dealership in America? And what if Ford wanted to give away a Ford F-150? Well, if you think about it, if a Ford dealership got enough people playing, they could be generating $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month. Well, if they're generating $30,000 a month, they could actually give away a car. If they're generating $500 a month, they could give away a lease because they'd be giving it away with the money generated directly from us. They wouldn't lose any money at all, but they'd get all the marketing and the PR and the hype from giving away cars every month. When in all actuality, they're not giving them away. They're giving them away, but money's coming in to pay for them. So the concept was, what if we could package our Lucky's BMW idea and give it to them? Almost all these car dealerships have some type of marketing promo going on at all times, whether they send you a key in the car or a key in the envelope and tell you to come in on Saturday to see if your key starts that car. Well, this is just another one of those marketing opportunities for them, but that could pay out for them in ways much larger than anything they've done in the past. So we're having this conversation now. I'm sure this is going to go through the executive associate, board and everybody else. We're talking to some industry leaders, people who own car dealerships, people who are associated with the car industry, to see what we would need to do, whether or not this would fly, and if it would, what would be the implementation execution process that we would need to follow to make it happen. So those are just a few different ideas and some of the things that we're talking about, trying to be creative. But ultimately, like I tell Russ all the time, this is not just helping a charity or helping a team. This is helping to change the world. And that's what we see at ACES. So thank you for letting me share that tonight, Russ.
Tim, I have one word, and I'm sure everybody else is thinking the same thing. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thank you for coming on and sharing all of that. I really appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having
me. Okay, Tim.
Derek, that was great. You really got our vision down. I know you're a basketball guy, but that's a swish from the half court. You got it down exactly what we want to do, exactly where we're going. You see the vision.
Awesome. Well, Derek, thanks for jumping on. And Tim, I shut Tim's mic up, but I wanted to thank him again for coming on and sharing his thoughts. He's taken this up 40 levels. Tim, again, thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. I believe Tim painted Something Software's vision and where we are going to a T. If you would like to be involved in what we are doing, there is no cost to any organization or player. Directly under this video, there will be a link to our website and contact information as well. Do something daily, Something Software, changing lives just 10 minutes at a time.